in that chat box, tell me what grade you are going into. And be honest, please, so we know who we're talking to. Oh, 8th grade, 9th grade, 6th grade. Oh. Oh, okay. Okay, very helpful. Okay, looks like we've got a lot of a mixture, but a lot of older kids on here, which is great. Okay. So now I'm going to ask you to tell me in the chat whether you participated in yesterday's program, which had to do with taking a tour of a water treatment plant. Okay. Oh, this is great. Okay. So in the chat, I want you to tell me what the job of a water company is. And if you weren't here, you're going to find out right now. Just watch the chats. To clean water, great. So we're going to clean your water. How is it going to get to your homes? Pipes, good. There are pipes underneath the streets in your neighborhood. So when you're driving with your families or taking a walk, think about water traveling underneath the ground. Excellent. Can we drink water from a river without cleaning it? No. And for the older students, what can happen if we do? You know what can happen. So waterborne disease, I'm not going to have you, it has to be cleaned. Exactly. So as a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, Cub Scout, there are other scouts, all the scouts, when you are going camping, there are methods that you will learn to clean water. So you don't have to bring bottled water, you'll learn how to clean it properly so that you don't get sick. Boiling it is definitely a good way to do it. Doesn't kill everything, but it does get rid of some of the germs and bacteria. Okay, so we're a water company. We do not bottle water, so that's important to know. And what Suez does is we clean water that goes to homes and hospitals and businesses and schools, lots and lots of water. Turn on your sink, Suez is providing that water. Turn on your shower, providing that water. Clean water, and that clean water is going to all parts of, yes, exactly. It's going to all parts of your home, including the toilet. Do not drink the water in the toilet, but clean water is going in that clean water pipe and going throughout your home because there are pipes through the walls of your home. And if your home was built and there was no connection to a water company pipe, you would not get water. So underneath the ground, the water company, your pipe, they connect the two, and that's how you get water from where we clean it, from a water treatment plant. So today, we are going to be talking about bubbles. And I know a lot of you probably have gotten bubbles in a jar and you kind of open it and you get a little plastic wand and you blow and it's just like this really fun thing and you run around. And I have to say that it doesn't matter how old you are. Most everyone loves bubbles. And as we have made big wands to make bubbles with, which you can do at home, to watch the big bubbles, little bubbles, it's fun, but there's actually a science behind what makes a bubble. Why does it pop? Why does it pop quickly one day and not another day? So we're going to explore that, and then we're going to be talking about a really fun activity. We're going to explain how to do this activity, this project that you'll get to create later on your own, and you'll get directions for it. So everything we talk about, you'll get directions for the project, so you don't have to write anything down. So the first thing I'm going to do is share, and you're going to get to watch our program. I want to just share the other one. Hold on. Okay, we got it now. Okie dokie, here we go. Miss Andrea's on mute, so unmute. Unmute, Miss Andrea, so you can join me. Okay.
So just to interrupt, you know, I want you guys to know that we are here to teach you a little bit about water, the properties of water, cleaning water. But when we ask you to chat, I want you to stay on topic. I don't want you to go off topic, because it kind of is a distraction for the other kids. So if you wouldn't mind, when we ask you to put your answers in the chat box or participate, that you keep it to the presentation, okay? So now we're gonna learn a little bit about bubbles. Yesterday we learned about cleaning water and what we do at Suez, clean water, the way the earth cleans water naturally through, does anyone remember? Does anyone remember what it's called when the earth cleans the water? Good guess. Precipitation is rain, sleet, snow, and hail. So that's the water that comes from the sky. Groundwater. Close. So the answer is percolation. Percolation. It's almost like bubbling. So on topic with bubbles, but that's how the earth actually cleans the water naturally. So we're going to talk about another fun topic with water, and that's bubbles. So we thought it'd be really cool to learn about bubbles. Does everyone like bubbles? Chat with me, yes or no. Who doesn't like bubbles? Yeah, everybody likes bubbles, no matter how old you are, like Miss Robin said. So we're going to talk a little bit about bubbles, and then we're going to do something really fun. Go ahead, Miss Robin.
Okay, great. So has anyone ever caught a bubble without it popping? There's a reason you can do that. If you have a dry hand, do you think it will pop? Can you put that in the chat? Or do you think you can you catch a bubble with a dry hand? Do you need soap on your hand? What do you think? This is actually a picture from a program that we did. This was one of our campers last summer. What are they saying, Andrea? Any responses?
They're saying soap.
Good.
Yep.
Absolutely. So when we think of bubbles, we talked about bubble solution, but honestly, there's so many bubbles. And so we're going to talk about the ocean as bubbles. There's bubbles when somebody's scuba diving just from the oxygen, there are bubbles. Think about when you're drinking soda, the fizz, there's bubbles in there, but they're not going to last as long as a soap bubble. How about when somebody is boiling water? Again, it's going to create bubbles. How about if you add oxygen to a fish tank? Do you think that's important to add oxygen to a fish tank? Why do you think that might be important?
Well, carbon, air.
Any more response?
No.
Okay. No? Okay, so.
Also, the fish can breathe.
Okay, so we add water, we add oxygen even into our reservoirs because it keeps the water healthy. And that's really important for fish. So those bubbles, really important for the fish. Bubbles, obviously, in a bubble bath. And we put on here that the world's largest bubble, blowing bubble gum, 2 feet, like this big. I would guess about this big, right? Huge. But think about when you're blowing a bubble with bubble gum. If you're able to do that, you've got oxygen on the inside, and then you've got something surrounding it, which is the gum. The gum is surrounding it. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. This is one of our favorite slides. This is a spittle bug. Miss Andrea loves this. So when we created this, we had one picture, and I had to add more. So this bug, when it's running away from its enemies and trying to hide and camouflage itself, believe it or not, it creates its own bubbles, and it can hide. And you can see on that branch, you can't even see the spittle bug. It's completely covered in bubbles. So there's so many bubbles that we don't even think about. What shape is a bubble? This is a big clue. It says it right here, a sphere. So a bubble is round, it's a sphere, and a sphere is a scientific perfect circle. And the reason a bubble is a circle is because it is the strongest shape, and it will hold that shape, and it holds a lot of gas. And this is what a bubble looks like. So we made a bubble sandwich. It's kind of hard to describe, so we thought this would really be helpful. So you've got a layer of soap, a layer of water, and a layer of soap. Think of that bubble that's round. The inside is the gas, so when you're blowing your air into that bubble, but the outside is soap, water, soap. Can somebody chat and tell me, why do you think a bubble may pop really quickly on a hot day?
Oh, good question. I don't even see if it's too dry, temperature, too thin, the water evaporates, humidity.
Excellent. Good.
Excellent.
So yeah, so on a hot day, the water is going to evaporate. So if you're creating bubbles outside, the best day to do it is on a cooler day when it's not too windy, because the hotter the temperature, the quicker the bubbles are going to pop. Because look at that sandwich. That middle layer is water. It's going to evaporate. Okay, so this just shows another illustration of a bubble. So think of this thin skin surrounding air, just like a balloon when you're blowing a balloon. But if the outside of that balloon was soap, water, soap, it would pop a lot quicker, not latex. This is latex, so it's not going to pop as quick. Okay, we added this in. I have a lot of high schoolers. Can you chat with us and tell us if you've learned about surface tension in science in school, middle school, and maybe in high school?
Yes, a lot of yeses, some no's.
Okay. Okay, so
Okay.
water loves water. Water molecules love water molecules, and they join together. Has anyone ever seen a bug run across the top of a puddle or a lake? And probably at your camp, I was there last summer, and there were these little bugs running across the water, so hundreds of them. They're running across what we call the surface tension. Let's pretend you have a glass of water, or I have tea. Where that water ends, all those water molecules are combining together, creating what we call surface tension. That surface tension.
Miss Robin, I can show them.
Yes. Oh, perfect.
I can show them. So think of this. I mean, you can do this later at home. Don't do this over your computer. But I don't know if you can see, but if I put one droplet of water, can you see it?
Turn it a little bit.
I'm putting two. Let me put it a little closer to you guys. Can you see the droplet? There looks like almost if you can't see it, I'm sorry, but you can put a droplet of water on your hand, and it is almost a dome shape. Okay, it looks like the water is held in there, kind of like the balloon we just saw, but it's really not, it's surface tension. And as I add more and more drops to that one single drop, eventually the surface tension is going to. So when you try it out at home, you can actually put the drop right on your hand, and if you hold your hand pretty steady, you could slowly jiggle your hand, and it still won't break the surface tension, but eventually it does break.
And I think what might be fun is put that water droplet on your hand, or put it on a plate and then add a little soap to it and see what happens. And see what happens to that surface tension. Does it break the surface tension? What happens? So why do bubbles pop? So we talked about evaporation. Obviously, if that skin of the bubble gets too thin, it's just going to pop. We talked about try to blow bubbles on a day that's not really windy out. And we also at the beginning talked about if your hand is dry and that bubble lands, it's going to pop. But if you have soap on your hand, that bubble is going to just land right on your hand, and you'll be able to hold on to your hand. You'll be able to hold that bubble onto the palm of your hand. Okay, so here's a project. Andrea is going to talk to you a little bit about what we've come up with. So you've learned about the science. You learned that the hotter the temperature is, it's going to, the water in the bubble is going to evaporate. You learned that you've got soap, water and soap, like a sandwich that makes up the bubble. Obviously, wind is going to pop that bubble. You learned a little bit about how molecules are attracted to each other. We call that surface tension when they form the skin on top of a cup of water or on top of a droplet of water. And now we're going to come up with a really fun project that we think you'll have the supplies for and we'll be able to do at home.
So boys and girls, I want you to, well, actually, can we take this off? Because I like to see
Yes,
everybody
absolutely.
when I do this. So we thought it'd be really cool to do something with all the materials you might have at home. So for some reason, we all seem to have a lot of plastic water bottles. Does everyone might have one in their home? Yes, maybe? Shake your heads yes or no. Anthony, I see your water bottle. Excellent. Look at that. Everyone is on. Okay, so I thought it would be really cool if we could figure out a way to make bubbles inside the house. Now, once again, you may want a family member, an older adult family member to help you out. That's fine. We don't want bubbles all over the house because as a mom, you might get in trouble if you start blowing bubbles everywhere. So we might want to take this outside. So the first thing I have is my water bottle. I take the cap off, all right? Now, you want to make sure this is the water bottle you used because you actually are gonna blow air through the top here, okay? And what I want you to do with this, okay, if you don't have your water bottle with you, you can do it after. So for now, you can just listen. I'm gonna want you to cut the end off of this water bottle. The best way to do this, and Miss Robin and I have done this 1,000 times, is you squeeze the bottle and then you cut. Just cut a little sliver, squeeze the bottle. So Alexander, I see yours. Excellent. Squeeze the bottle right, Alexander, squeeze the bottle like this. Everyone, eyes on me. Everyone looking? Okay. So you squeeze the bottle, you cut, and we go in here, we cut the end off. Okay, so there's the bottom of my bottle. And then I have this bottle. Now it has no bottom. Now I have another question. Does anyone in their home happen to have an old sock? I do. I don't know why, but I have thousands of these everywhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that sock and we're gonna put it right on the end of that bottle. Okay, I'm gonna put it all the way on. Really tight if you can. Pull it all the way up. Okay. So you want the sock on like this, okay? And then you want the part where you're gonna blow into exposed. All right, does everyone see? Is everyone following? Shake your head yes or no? Yes, excellent. All right, so this is our bottle. My sock was very big. Your sock might not be that big, but remember my bottle is inside here. Okay, I'm gonna put my bottle down, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some water. You could take a big bucket of water, you could take a small bucket of water, and then I'm gonna put in some dish detergent. Just a smidge, because we don't wanna waste. All right, you're gonna put a little bit in. I like to stir mine up. Okay. And then I'm going to take my bottle, I'm going to dip it in here to that soapy water. Now remember, don't do this over your computer or we'll all be in trouble.
And do it outside.
And then we're going to blow. Now, if you have really strong lungs, your snake is going to be super long. But it's super cool. Now, I put a bowl underneath so that I wouldn't get it on my computer. But be really careful. And what you're going to see is you're going to make a snake, a bubble snake, as long as can be. Now, if I was outside, I would be able to run it across my lawn or run it down my driveway. But I would be able to at least make it much longer. In my office, I'm not going to do that. So I want you to do this at home. Take it outside, don't do it over your computer. And that's a little bit about bubbles. So, you know, part of our job at Suez, I want you to still listen to me, so eyes on me while you're working, or actually, you don't need ears on me while you're working. I want you to think about conserving water. And I know for those of you who were here yesterday that we talked about conserving water, and you know what? It's just a conversation we need to have every single day when we're teaching. Because conserving water, saving water is very important to the environment and to the world. Who was here yesterday that remembers one of the things that we suggested to do? Dominic, is that you or David? I see someone raising their hand. Can you type it in? What were one of the suggestions that we gave you when it comes to saving water? Does anyone remember? Shorter showers. Excellent. Alexander, that was awesome. Yes, shorter showers. I don't know if you took a shower last night, but maybe you were only in there for 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Does anyone remember how much water we use when we're in the shower? Nice answers. Does anyone remember? How many gallons of, right, 5 gallons per minute. Awesome. From Simon and Matt and Calvin. Excellent. 50 gallons for a 10-minute shower. That's right. Someone suggested a rain barrel. Awesome idea. Last night, I was reading a book, and you know what they do? They put a bucket in their shower to catch the extra water before it goes down the drain. You could take that and bring it downstairs, water your plants. You could do a million things with that. So, what else? Anything else? It saves money. What do we do with the sock after, Aaron's asking? Well, you probably just stick it in the wash. But conserving water is really important. So I want you guys to take the time now, have some fun. All right, we went through a lot of information with bubbles. I want you to notice in your world every day where you see bubbles. You might see it in your soda. You might see it in your fish tank. You might see it at the beach. And think about this whole outreach. And then when you have time later, I want you to try and create your bubble snake. So I hope you guys learned something. And remember, every drop matters. And every day I see you, I'm going to ask you to try to conserve water at least one time. Shake your head if you hear me. Yes, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate it. And for 57 of you, just think, 57 times today, we're going to save water. All right, John.
Thank you so much, everyone. This was great. I hope you had fun.
Miss Robin, someone asked a question. Can you tell them what Suez means?
Well, Suez is a very old company. We started off and we built the Suez Canal in Egypt. And from there, after we built the Suez Canal, we started to clean water, and we started to clean water for drinking and clean wastewater. That's the dirty water. And the company just grew and grew, and now it is a French company, Suez. So good question. We're one of the largest water companies. So
we got looks like who is it? Someone is desperate to know, what do you do after the stock? I think they missed that part. If you can just briefly.
Oh, well, after you're done with the sock, you can pull it off the end of the bottle. All right, put it in the clothes wash, or put it in the hamper. Or you can leave it on and keep using it. I mean, it will dry out, but you can keep adding and keep using your soap and making more bubbles.
I don't know that Suez stands specifically for anything, but I would suggest researching it and seeing. I'd be interested to know. I don't think so. It was the name of the canal.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think.
How do we make the soap? So I wanted, if you can, in your house, you might have soap to do the dishes. If you do, just pour it in a tiny little cup of water, and that'll create the soap. Don't use too much, just a few drops. Don't make it nice and soapy. Yep, Dawn soap might work. All right, guys, if you have any questions, please let John or Kim know, and we'll be happy to answer them offline.
Thank
And
you.
take photographs of your projects. We would love to see them.
Yes.
That's so
Yes.
important because maybe
Yes,
you
and
all
please-
can put them up somewhere. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
and please post your photos to the Camp in a Box Facebook